So, Darren,
I?
you know our singer Tom?
Yes.
Recently he had the new COVID vaccine.
Ooh, interesting.
He got really ill,
Okay.
but it turned out that he just had to go to bed for a day and have a software update. He was fine then.
Tish.
So, I'm Adam.
And I'm Darren.
This is episode 2 of our new podcast, Opinionated.
So, quick question for you.
Yep.
Last week we did one, we put it out. We were kind, we didn't beat Paul to his audience, so that was nice of us. Did we get any comments?
I got quite a few messages, did you?
No, I don't think people want to approach me. Either I'm over opinionated, or I just don't have anything worthy of saying.
So I had a few, mainly good messages to be fair. I was quite surprised. A lot of well done's for sort of stepping out the box and saying what we thought, because a lot of people seem to have the same opinion as us, really.
I think yeah, and it is a subject we could have talked on for a lot longer, because there are loads and loads of bands, and we can't mention you all, but you know who you are, right?
Yeah, I got one message from Gav. Gav, you're listening, I know who you are. Started off, I've got a bone to pick with you. Mentioned that, I missed this band, I missed that band, I only mentioned this band. So I did know. I was trying to use them to move on to the threat and stuff and keep the conversation rolling.
You were using specific band to get to a certain point.
Yeah.
Like
I do know there are other bands, and not just that one. Because otherwise, our band, we do stuff. So,
absolutely.
And I didn't mention us.
Who are we? Let's not mention it.
The undeserved.
Yeah, that's the one. So just from a quick point then, I welcome comments, so if people want to inbox me with any kind of comment about what we're doing, that's great. If you want to insult me, then don't.
Start a debate,
that's okay.
That's the point.
Absolutely, that's why we're doing this. We got ideas coming up for the future stuff, but if there's anything you wanted us to sort of throw in, just contact one of us and go, could you do something about this? My opinion is, and we'll read it out and then we'll debate it.
Yeah, and I think we'll rediscover the whole Coventry music scene with guests. We'll get some people in.
Oh, that'd be good.
Whole
to prove that there are more than one band in Coventry.
Yeah, and when the world's better and we're actually allowed to do that, because currently we're not. So.
Yeah. As we pointed out before, me and Adam are actually we are in a bubble. So he is my family bubble, and he looks after me because I'm old. So what are we talking about today?
That would be conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah. You got any good ones?
There are loads of good ones.
So,
my favourite at the moment is the Bob Lazar and Area 51 stuff.
Oh, right. So Area 51 is based in New Mexico, Groom Lake, Nevada desert, in the middle of nowhere. The US Defense Department just bought up crap loads of land back in around about 30s. It's been a nuclear testing site. It's also where Roswell is, so we can link into that.
Yes, that's where the Blackbird plane came from. A lot of secret planes and the aircraft came from. All started there.
Yeah. Average is F-14 stealth bomber, stealth fighters. They came out of there. The big stealth bomber, the B-9 or the B-4 or the B-flattened.
Yeah, well, but whatever it is.
Yeah, that came out of there.
But it was a secret base that no one really knew anything about until this guy, Bob Lazar, shows up, who says that he worked near Area 51, not actually in it, in S4 is what he called it.
Which is a hangar in the Nevada Groom Lake area.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
about 5 miles from Area 51.
Yeah.
And he said that he worked on flying saucers.
Ooh.
And that he was back engineering alien technology. That's what he said, alien technology.
Yeah, I remember seeing things about that.
It blew up back in the 80s, that story.
Yeah.
And that confirmed that Area 51 existed. It was a place. It was secretive.
Although the military still denied it right up until the point where, what's that film? Will Smith?
Independence Day.
Independence Day. So Independence Day got loads of help from the US, because the US Army and military department are really good at using their people for extras. So they like to help out films by showing off all their tech, and it keeps the cost of a film down. But when they realised that they were mentioning Area 51, they didn't want to be involved.
No. But have you seen any of the stuff recently on Bob Lazar where a lot of things that he said have now come out to be true, and a lot of evidence that proved what he was saying is kind of right?
So a lot of people would go, okay, so if he was bullshitting, then, you know, he's bullshitting, right? Then nothing would come true that he said. And then people back in the 80s, I remember people saying, well, he must be lying because if he wasn't, they'd kill him.
Yeah, but
you know, he'd disappear.
In reality, actually, he was going on TV and saying this so that they wouldn't kill him because the information's out there, and if he disappeared, that's a bit weird.
So the powers that be just let him ramble, thinking people would
pretty much
discredit him as a
But
lunatic.
he got followed, he got shot at one point. His friends and family, they all got into trouble. There's just things that you can't sort of discredit. Like, he knew when training or flights were happening, and just practices, just weird lights in the sky. He knew when they was going to be there, so he took a load of friends out to the desert 3 Wednesdays in a row. If he didn't know when the flight patterns were going to be,
absolutely,
how is it that they saw them things in the 80s? They filmed them, and he got in trouble because of that. That's why he went on TV.
They extended the area, haven't they? They've extended the area by X amount of miles, making it even bigger than what it used to be. Because you used to be able to go up onto the mountains, where Bob Lazar used to take people, and where the UFO hunters used to gather, and they used to see them filming, and they'd be filming flights in and out, and all sorts of that, and all the mysterious stuff. So they extended. They literally bought up more land and extended it, so you can't even get to those high points to see anything. No.
There's other things as well, like where he went to school and where he worked beforehand. I think he worked in Los Alamos, some lab there.
Yeah.
And any time that anyone tried to get records of him working there, they denied any records. But there are people that used to drop him off at work or at school. There's no records of where he studied, but he's still a scientist today. It's like, how can you be a scientist? Like, you didn't just get hired as a scientist somewhere. You had to go to school for that. You had to get a degree for the things that he does.
You kind of have to think, if you're going down the route of whistleblowing on an actual US department in government that's shrouded in mystery, then the best thing to do is exactly how he did it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people did it in the past and didn't take the same sort of precautions, knowing that it was going to ruin their life forever.
Yeah. But like, he openly admits it's not helped him in any way. He could come up with a better lie that could actually benefit him in some way, but it's ruined his life. It still always creeps up. Like, there's a documentary that came out, I think, a year ago on Netflix about him, and just talking to a guy, he got raided by the FBI because of it. And all he was doing was filming a documentary and doing an interview.
Nice.
The next day, he texts the guy, "Oh, I'm being raided right now." Funny timing.
But here's the thing with everything, right? There's so many different things out there that people go, "Oh, that's a conspiracy." And if you link things together, they kind of pour cold water on each other. Because I've seen it on different YouTube channels, people going on about Bob Lazar, and in the next breath claiming that the world is flat.
That's true.
They're going, oh yeah, the aliens exist because Bob Lazar was at Area 51, and by the way, the Earth is flat, and I can prove it. And it's just like, what?
But how'd you prove that?
Well, their proof is based on NASA photographs, so they're using NASA evidence
that proves it's
to
round.
prove that it's not round and it's flat.
Right.
Can you see the logic?
Yeah.
So their point is, that the photographs that you see from like the space shuttle or whatever, it doesn't really show the curvature of the Earth, and it's taken through a fisheye lens and all that kind of thing. And then it's kind of like if you stare at one spot on a basketball 2 feet or away, you can see the curve. But if you stare at a basketball an inch away from your face, can you see that it's round? No, not really.
No. There's the other thing, the way they explain the sun with flat Earth, that we're kind of like a dome rather than completely flat.
So the Simpsons are right.
Yeah. The Simpsons
right
predicted again, where there's like a glass dome and the sun sort of goes over each sort of country or place, and that's where the sun hit. But think about it, like if you're in a dark street and there's only one headlamp and it's on the other side of the street,
you still
see it.
Yeah.
But at night time we don't see the sun.
Interesting.
You'd see it far away. I don't get the flat Earth.
No, I don't get flat Earth. My biggest problem with flat Earthers, they run around saying that the Earth's flat, but they don't mention other planets like Jupiter or Mars. Flat Mars Society. I think I'll start a flat Mars Society. Yeah.
Maybe we should do that when we get there.
Well, we're already there, apparently. The US military, their space department or whatever it's called, they've got a space force now. Officially,
apparently, yeah. I remember Trump saying something about that.
So is that Trump's way of saying space force because it's already existed and we've been to other planets?
Who knows?
See,
conspiracy. We're going to make a conspiracy now. We'll make our own one.
See, if aliens are real, then a president like Trump would be dumb enough to say it accidentally. So maybe they just don't trust presidents with sensitive information.
Yeah, true.
That could be one way of doing it.
Oh, well, you wouldn't trust him with that kind of information.
It's been a weird 4 years, and the past year and a half has even been weirder. So yeah, anything's possible. But we're counting out flat Earth. But we're counting Bob Lazar in.
Bob Lazar's got so many things that he said that are just true. Just one small one was how they used to sign
Velcro.
in.
No,
not the Velcro thing. We'll come on to the Velcro thing. But no, just how they used to sign in with a hand scanner.
All right.
Which you can get that anywhere. Like I used to work in a
Well,
warehouse.
I've got
There was
my
a
iPad
fingerprint
in front
scanner.
of me, and my
Yeah,
iPad
my
opens
phone.
with my thumb.
Yes, my phone opens with that. I used to do that in the warehouse. But this was it was like a pad with 5 sort of bars. They had metal bars and a light underneath it, and apparently it measured the distance of your bones from each other and the length of your bones, because apparently it's the same, they're different for everyone else, like a fingerprint.
All right.
But it's more accurate because it's like inside your body, and then the card would pop out, and everyone back then would say, "No, it's something from Star Trek."
Absolutely, the use of biometrics now is an everyday occurrence.
Yeah, but it's been like there's photos of it now. You can find that they exist.
Yeah.
They existed then, and they were usually used in secret military bases. There's one, and then there's element 115,
which is
a man-made element. In science, it's like been theorized for years that there's somewhere on the scale of elements that there's one that will just not be affected by anything that's radioactive. And they've always said that it's somewhere between 114 and 116, which, there's only one number between that, which is 115. And he was saying back then that this element existed, and they was using it, and that's how the flying saucers or UFOs harness the power to fly in the way that they do. That they would change gravity. And instead of there being propulsion that pushes things forward from the back, it would change what's in front of it and pull it forwards.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like he explained it with, if you put a bowling ball on a bed and then go a foot over to the side and put a fist,
the bowling ball goes towards it.
Yeah, and that's how it would work. And the way I see it is any science that works is able to be explained very simply.
Yeah.
And that's a very simple way to explain how it works. But the element has now actually been declassified, and we know it exists.
That's a lot easier than explaining that the sun is in a dome and people in Africa have warmer sun than people in Norway.
That's the thing about conspiracy theorists. You've got conspiracies that can be explained and could be true, and they're really interesting, and then there's some things that people just pick out their brain from nowhere, and they have to really over-explain how it works. But if something is real, it's really easy to explain.
Yeah. So there's got to be some sort of tangible element to what's going on, be it the theory then has some evidence, empirical or otherwise, to back it up.
Yeah.
And like you said, if somebody can explain something simply that you can understand, and then you go, "Oh, right, I get it now," because that kind of works. But then you've got other conspiracy theories like the vaccine one.
Oh, the vaccine
which is, Bill Gates sold his company so that he could invest in vaccines to put microchips in everybody.
Yep.
So that they could track, so they can track what you do,
yep,
where you go,
yep,
who you speak to, what you're buying,
yep,
and build up a profile electronically of what you do and how you exist in cyberspace.
Yeah.
With face recognition software that picks you up on cameras when you walk past them.
Yeah.
That's called a mobile phone, right? I'm just saying.
Even before like smartphones. Like, have you ever watched Prison Break?
Yes.
Yeah. So back when that came out, smartphones weren't a thing. Everyone had a flip phone. But even back then, when they're on the run, if they make a phone call, they destroy the phone. They take the battery out, they smash it.
Absolutely.
Because they could track them back then. So
because it's just triangulating
who cares
signal.
if you've got a microchip? Because everyone's got a phone.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
Why would you spend all your money putting a tracking system in a vaccine and then come up with some disease that apparently doesn't exist, but it really does? I think, from my perspective, with what I do for a living, I know it exists because I'm making calls to families and being told, blah, 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 this member of the family has died or there's been a bereavement due to COVID-19. And it is heartbreaking for those families. Also on a personal level, last year I lost an auntie. So, people telling me, oh no, it's a conspiracy to put a tracker in you, there's better ways of doing that because you're already buying that technology yourself and walking around with it in your pocket.
Yeah. And the best thing that I kind of notice about the people that say, I'm not having the vaccine because microchip, there's over 7 billion people on the planet, and they think that the rich people want to put a microchip in them to find out where they are. Quite simply, you're not that important.
Absolutely.
No one cares. You're on Facebook. You can have a conversation with someone, and then Facebook will advertise what you was talking about. Like, you're already tracked. They already know where you are. You all use Google,
and they know your opinion.
But they don't care really. Like,
and they know
you're not that important. You're not doing anything that they need to know about.
But they know if you're a snowflake or not, right?
Yeah. Everyone knows that because they're all over Facebook posting about themselves.
Absolutely.
They make their own choice to post what they do. So
this goes back to last week. This reminds me of Threaten.
They're all going to link together, I think, because it's all about the opinions, and there's some people that are just stupid.
It's like what's that thing? People that go on YouTube and they're called influencers. Who the fuck are they influencing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Who the fuck are you influencing?
Instagram's the biggest place for the influencers. Everyone is a fit fanatic. All health this, health that. I'm a vegan. Like, not to disrespect if you want to live that way.
No, people's choice is people's choice.
Yeah, but you don't. If just because you posted a picture of your vegan chicken burger does not mean that you're now influencing other people to eat the same thing. Like, they make the choice on their own.
So Instagram, right? A couple of weeks ago, you put up a little picture of me playing guitar.
I did, yeah.
And how many hits did it get?
A couple of thousand.
So you contacted me and went, this has got 2,000 hits.
I think it was 5,000.
And I went, because I don't know anything about social media.
Yeah.
And you went, your average hit like that is like 50 views.
Yeah, like any time I put an Instagram video on, we get like 20 to 50 views.
So it's just that not that I'm important. It's just that people were like, oh yeah, searching. I don't know.
I put a hashtag out and people looked for it.
Bearded old geezer with a guitar.
Yeah, like it could have just been at the top of the hashtag bar and people were scrolling past it.
So now it's at 5,000. Does that make me an influencer?
Has anyone picked up a guitar because of you?
No, no, not at all.
No.
If you have, please contact me and let me know. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be good. That went off on a tangent.
Yeah. I just wanted to get that in because it's all about like people's belief system is based on how they perceive the world.
Yeah.
And some people they're living in such a sort of weird way now, like with influencers, that their opinion of themselves is so elevated.
Yeah, and it's a lot down to social media. So these influencers on social media you never see them in a dull moment.
No,
they're always looking at the best they possibly can because they make themselves do it that day. They don't blog every single day. They have like
it's
one or two videos a week, but it's all made like a TV program.
Yeah. So people make a contrived existence of what they do, and then take pictures of their dinner and breakfast.
Yeah. But the people that tend to actually get influenced by these people are the same people that come out with these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, so if one of them goes on the internet and goes, I'm not going to have the vaccine, then loads of people just go, yeah.
Yeah. It only takes one of them to influence hundreds of people, apparently, to have the same opinion based on nothing.
So I saw a little meme. It was like a little cartoon a couple of weeks ago, and it was a picture of a little girl looking at her mum, and she says to her mum, "Mummy, what's that scratch mark on your arm?" And the mum says, "That's my smallpox vaccine." And the kid goes, "What's smallpox? Why haven't I got it?" And the mum goes, "Because it worked."
Yeah.
So that child never had to have that vaccine.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are like lots of hideous diseases that no longer affect a lot of us because vaccines worked, and they have worked since Jenner invented them.
Yeah. It's a stupid one. It's a stupid one. Like, we've had vaccines for years and years and years. There's been anti-vaxxers for years, but this is just a new level.
Yeah, because I think in the 80s it was like, blah, 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 if you have these triple vaccines, your child will get autism.
Yeah.
So there has been a rise in autism and Asperger's within children over the past 20 or 30 years. Now, is that because of the way we eat processed foods, what we make with processed foods? Is that because of the chemicals in the air and the carbon footprint all over the place? Is that because anything? Is that genetics? Is that human evolution? Or a lot of people just go, "Well, it's a vaccine." Not really sure about that one. So for me, the vaccine thing, I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on it. I think people are stupid to believe it. Yeah, okay, do your own research.
Do your own research.
Yeah, do your own research.
As we always say, right? We're not picking fun and taking the piss and saying to people, "You're wrong, we're right." What we're saying is our opinions are based on what we've researched for us, and you know, and that's why we stick to what we've said.
Yeah, and
if you come up with some evidence that proves otherwise and have that conversation, then great, I might listen.
Which can bring us back to last week, a term that was used, intelligent skeptic.
Yeah.
An intelligent skeptic is someone like us. If evidence is shown to change our opinion, then we're happy to change the opinion based on the evidence provided. The conspiracy theorists of today, they won't see it that way. If you provide them evidence, then they spin that as more evidence of the conspiracy.
So it goes down to the Loch Ness Monster syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bigfoot, you can't prove that they don't exist.
Exactly.
And therefore they exist.
Yeah. Or the flat earthers, they're using the evidence that the earth is round.
Yeah, because I'm not rich enough to get in a rocket and go up high enough to look down and prove it.
Yeah, but they're using the evidence, NASA photos, they're using them as evidence to prove that there's a conspiracy, when actually they prove the earth is round.
Yeah, I saw an experiment where somebody was going on about like the curvature of the earth, and if you take this clock and you go there, the time on it should be different. Is that right?
Yeah. Some guy filmed himself on a plane with a watch and he time-lapsed it.
Yeah, and he did the whole thing, and he was a flat earther, and then he put his video out that actually proved that the earth was round.
Because the time was different.
Yeah.
Even though it takes time for the plane to travel.
So he used what somebody had already said previously. It was a theory that has been put out in science, and he used that to prove that the earth was flat, and it didn't. So well done. Thank you.
It's another thing as well to think about. Like, conspiracy theories are usually versus science, and scientists don't prove their theories. They go out of their way to prove their theory is wrong, but then they make the mistake of proving that they were right.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
That's mostly what they do. Like Stephen Hawking, for example, theory of everything. He comes up with a theory of a black hole in the center of the universe, and then
which sounds preposterous.
But like maybe, but and then that was his thesis, and then his next one was to prove that what he said before was wrong.
Yeah,
that's what scientists do.
So recently, didn't they discover the edge of a black hole?
Something like that.
And they took a photo with a radio telescope, and there's just an absence bit of space around some light, which would be what we perceive as a black hole, because it's sucking, the gravity well is sucking all the light into it.
Yeah.
It's very Star Trek today.
Well, a lot of conspiracies come down to space and where we are and what the point is.
Do you think that is based on the fact that the majority of people no longer have any sort of religious affiliation? So back in the day, people would blindly follow a religion. Yeah. You know, if something went bad, it's because God willed it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you have to live your life to a doctrine that's out there. And people had that, and it gave them faith. And I suppose the point is faith. You either have faith in science, you have faith in religion or some sort of spiritual aspect.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot sort of more people that are open to religion being wrong and they make their own decisions. Unfortunately, that usually comes down to the stupid conspiracy theories now. But I don't know. Science has got a lot bigger recently, it seems. Everyone has their own sort of scientific evidence on everything.
Lots of people go off on the wrong way when they're doing their own research.
Yeah, they do.
So it's easy to get caught up in flat Earth research because you watch one YouTube video and you go, hang on a minute.
I think it's
and
happened.
Then you get another one.
It's happened a lot more in the past sort of 4 or 5 years when the whole Trump thing happened and he said the word fake news, because that hadn't really been ever said like in the media before, like in the big limelight, mainstream kind of thing. Now everyone knows what fake news is.
And the Karen.
And for some reason, there's a lot of people that can't differentiate
between what
actual news is and disinformation is.
Yeah.
Even though it's quite obvious just by looking at the news article you're reading, whether or not it's a credible one that you've heard of before or not, and it's just been shared on Facebook.
Yeah, but the other thing is about, I'm going to come at it from a skeptic point of view.
Okay.
So there will be people out there listening that go, hang on a minute, the BBC distort what they show. Well, no, they've got 60-minute programme and they've got to show something relevant in 60 minutes. And yes, they may be a political biased element to it, but all news platforms do the same.
Yeah. If it's so mainstream, and I don't understand why they would have to trick everybody to believe one thing. Like, what's it doing for them, really? If we think the Earth is round or flat, who cares?
Well, they have conventions and they sell T-shirts.
Yeah, I know.
And books, and there are people that
people
make a living
money
out of saying the Earth's flat.
Is it really that they believe that it's flat, or are they just making quite a bit of money from doing it?
Yeah, but it's the same with the UFO hunters. There are some that are involved in it mainly because they just need something in their life.
Yeah,
that's a controversial opinion.
These are the wrong conspiracy theorists, aren't they? This is where it becomes different into, is there some true element to it, or are we just saying something because it's cool to say and it might be funny?
Well,
it might be able to make some money. Whereas the Bob Lazar thing it's not helped him.
No, and like I said, I mean, before we started, I said I remember seeing lots of stuff about him when he first came out on the TV, and people were just laughing at him.
Well, yeah,
you know, and like you say, now
it was foreign.
We're talking 20, 25 years later. He's still around. He still maintains what he says,
and it's still the exact same story.
There are things in our mainstream now that exist. So, like we were talking and alluding to the technology of the stealth planes.
Yep.
Where did that come from? You know, is it based off their shape? If it is, where do you get the idea for that shape that deflects radar? Is it based off the coating that's on the plane? If so, where did that get developed?
Yeah.
Do you know, because these technologies America has, and it doesn't really give them up.
No, it's questions on questions, but they all came from somewhere.
You know, Russia used to make the equivalent of American planes by actually just copying them.
Yeah.
And then changing the design.
Yeah, because America used to send like stealth planes or UAVs over the top to see what they were up to.
Yeah.
And they'd see, they're making that. Let's stop that.
Yeah. So Russia had its own space shuttle program.
Yeah.
And if you go and Google it, you'll find there's a place where somebody broke into it. There's this guy that goes around the world and he just takes photos of abandoned sites.
Yeah.
And he went in there and he took loads of photos, and it's almost a copy of the American space shuttle. But everyone goes, so why didn't they pursue it? Because it's really expensive.
Yeah. Which
brings us to
the fake moon landing.
The moon.
Did we land on the moon?
Hang on. If the Earth's flat, then obviously the moon is a hologram, which has been projected up there for millennia.
Yeah.
Millennia. But we've only created the word hologram in the past 40 years.
Yeah. So how do they know?
Yeah. They're Mayans. Those Mayans and their calendar, that's what caused that.
See, the Mayans were dyslexic, and they actually was meant to put 2021.
And now we're all
2012.
And that's why we're all fucked now.
That's the new conspiracy theory.
It could be true.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not the... Do you know what? It's like all these films about a zombie apocalypse, and this is not the zombie apocalypse I trained for. You know what I mean?
No, completely different.
Yeah.
We are the zombies already.
So moon landings. Quick refreshment. June the 20th,
don't remember the date.
1969.
Yeah, I remember
was
the year, but
3.
never the date.
Everybody goes, you know where you were when they landed on the moon? Well, I was 3.
I wasn't born.
You weren't born.
No.
I was massively, as a child, like, and a teenager, I was massively into the whole NASA and space thing because there was loads of it on the telly and it was just so exciting and interesting. Obviously, I don't remember the moon landings, but I remember from 70 onwards where they were still doing the Apollo missions just before they wrapped them all up. And people said it's fake and you can prove it's fake. So let's have a quick look. Let's go through why is it fake? What proves that the moon landing is fake?
Not a lot.
Right,
Not
so
a lot.
evidence from the conspiracy theories is there are no stars in the photographs.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Right, and that's been explained.
What's the explanation for that one?
So the explanation is the cameras mounted on the chests are Hasselblad, is it? I don't know whether I pronounced that right, but they're German cameras and they're mounted, so it was single shot. Now, if the light source is in front of you or behind you and it's super bright, then the night sky is going to appear black because stars won't come out. Try it with your own phone.
So it's like simple light pollution, really.
Yeah, try it with your own phone. It's really difficult to take pictures of stars.
Well, yeah, they don't come up. You can't take a
You
photo
know
of the
what I
moon
mean?
with your phone.
You take a photo of the moon, and the moon is the brightest thing there.
Yeah, so it covers the...
But while we're on that, can I just kill the werewolf thing right now?
The werewolf.
So tangent again. So werewolves. A man turns into a werewolf because he was bitten by a werewolf at the light of a full moon.
Uh-huh.
Right, so the light on the full moon is what sort of light? Sunlight, right?
Oh, yeah,
So
it's reflective.
So
yeah.
why doesn't he just turn into a fucking werewolf in the daytime? Do you know what I mean? I'm just killing that one now. I'm calling bullshit on that. Do you know what I mean? It's moonlight, which means if sunlight can like make a vampire less strong, then moonlight would make him quite weak as well.
I've never thought of that.
No, well, see, people don't.
Yeah.
Science. There you go. Science in action. The light reflecting off the moon, everybody, if you didn't know, is actually sunlight. Okay, so next time you look up at them and see a full moon. Oh, by the way, the other thing that like totally fucks up flat earthers. Do you know when the moon goes into a crescent?
Yeah.
That's a shadow caused by the sun.
Yeah.
Now, if the sun was flat, it'd be a straight line.
It would be a straight line, yeah.
Not a curve. So you would never get that cheesy looking crescent moon.
Also, the other one, that the sun and the moon are the same thing, even though for more than half the year they're in the sky at the same time.
Yeah. It's just like, ludicrous. Anyway, let's go back to the moon.
Yeah, the moon landings.
Why? Yeah, so you can't see the stars. Well, yeah, that's all to do with light. So what's one of the other ones?
Some of the photos from training programs before they went up were then doctored to being ones from the actual moon landing.
Yeah, because going to the moon's really expensive.
Yeah, but my argument on it is, yeah, there are a couple of doctored images that were published from training exercises and then doctored into being moon landing ones. But my argument is if they're going to fake the moon landing, surely they wouldn't be that thick to use already published images from training exercises.
Yeah.
to go, oh, look, we went to the moon, but we've already shown you these images, but here they are on the moon now because we just moved the guy and changed the background. So if they were that thick, they wouldn't have been able to keep it a secret this long.
Well, here's the thing, right? How many people would it take to keep a secret like that? Do you know what I mean? Because they've got all them people. I mean, in a room now when they send up anything, there's probably about 20 people. But back then there was probably about 40 people in mission control.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've got the 40 people that are all linked into all their computer systems, all watching specific individual things, you know.
Yeah.
And they double checked everything because it was a dangerous thing to do. So you've got people watching telemetry, people measuring the distance of the radio waves to make sure they're getting a good connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got people in other countries. Australia was tracking the vehicles. And let's talk about the Cold War. Dead simple, right? If it was bullshit, the Russians would have called bullshit and proved it. Yeah. Because they had so much to gain from a political standpoint. You know, the space race elevated because Russia got Sputnik into space first. And then Gagarin was the first man in space. Well, the first man that we know went to space, survived and came back. who later
Yeah,
died in
yeah.
a plane crash. But that's a different conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy.
So Russia went out of their way to prove things worked. They put women in space before America, decades before Americans. And their point was, we are this big, strong, united country where everybody is equal. It's total proof communism. Everybody is equal under one flag, apart from the ruling class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are now called oligarchs, because they knew where all the minerals were and the cash, and they legged it after the Cold War. And bought Chelsea.
Bought Chelsea.
And other football teams are available. So the point is, lots of people come up with all these sort of sketchy reasons. Like, the one is, that thing that landed on the moon that's made out of, like, Bako foil and cardboard, it just wouldn't have survived. Well, no, it wouldn't if it had to land in, I don't know, Gosford Park, because it's going somewhere where there's 1/6 gravity, and no air, which means virtually no friction. Why do spacecraft heat up on the way back? Because they're coming through an atmosphere, which is causing friction. Yeah, you're landing on the moon. You don't need it.
No.
Oh, I saw the landing and the dust that would have been kicked up by that blast. Really? Why?
There's one theory I heard as well, that the atmosphere sort of works, it's in different levels.
Yeah.
Apparently there's like a level that is basically just radiation, and that it's physically impossible for us to go past that. Where did they get that from?
The Van Halen belt. Is that the one?
Something like that. I think that's the one, yeah.
Spout, yeah.
And it's like, we can't get through that. Like, right. But we did. So...
Well, what people don't realise is that the Earth is like a big giant magnet, right? So it's got a magnetosphere, and then it radiates out. You've got this protective magnet sort of effect, which stops a lot of the radiation because it deflects it, right? This is the science bit. But it's not perfectly round. It's elliptical, and it encompasses the moon to a certain degree. So the radiation isn't as bad as people think. And you're okay going to hospital and having an X-ray, right?
Yeah.
So it's no worse.
Radiation.
It's no worse than that. It's a couple of exposures, and nobody goes, I've had too many X-rays this year, I can't go. My teeth are incredibly white and green and glow in the dark.
No, it doesn't happen.
No. So there's that. What else is there? Right. So there's I think it was. We'll have to check the facts on this. In 1970, I think it was about 6, maybe, there was a film came out called Capricorn 1. So Capricorn 1 is all about a landing of 3 astronauts on Mars.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, but the space program doesn't have enough money to bring them back safely.
Nice.
So what they do is, at the point just before they're about to take off, somebody opens the hatch and goes, "You need to come with us." Yeah?
Yeah.
Takes the astronauts, puts them in a hangar, the rocket goes up, there's a pre-recorded tapes going on from, like you say, the training programs that had already been done and been filmed. So the tapes are being played and people are responding to that because it's dialogue. It's like, go for this, go for that, what's the pressure on this? And it's all how it should be. So then these astronauts are somewhere in the middle of the desert, and they have to do like a moonshot bit, but a Mars shot. So there's a big airplane hangar thing, and it's all like there's a lander on it, and they're being shown around it and being told, you have to do this, blah blah blah. We couldn't afford to really send you there. You have to fake it. And they're sort of kept prisoners against their will and threatened that, And then one of them twigs that if we don't do what they say, they'll kill our families. But if we do what they say, they're going to kill us on the way back. And, and when it comes back, they're just going to blow it up and go, oh, that was a tragedy. So if you want to go and just enjoy an old film about conspiracy theories, go and watch that. And then every conspiracy that you hear about the moon landing, you'll go, it's all in this bloody film.
They just saw the film and copied it.
Well, from the day Neil Armstrong by the way, his name is an anagram, alien. But from the first time he put his foot, or supposedly put his foot, whatever people want to believe, on the moon, people have said, bullshit, it's fake. Because it's such an incredible thing to think, hang on a minute, people did that.
Yeah.
But there was a time when Columbus got in a boat, went the wrong way, and got somewhere that he wasn't intending to go.
Yep.
And then, enslaved millions of people and caused fucking total carnage.
As you do.
As you do. So what else is there on the moon landing that we can sort of have a quick mull over?
The American flag. How it waves in the wind.
The flag waves in the wind. Yeah. So if you watch the whole thing when they construct the flag, there's a pole.
Yep.
And another pole goes through the top.
Yep.
And they clip the pole on the top. And it was made to look like the flag was going to wave because nobody wants to see a droopy flag.
Yeah.
That one's bullshit.
Simple.
Then that's gone.
Simple, isn't it? But it's so small little things. There's that one where they look at the photo of the visor as well, don't they? And they construct everything in the reflection.
Yeah. All the reflections and all the light sources are all wrong.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I'm just going to call bullshit on that really quickly because, right, so everyone goes, well, light sources, and it has to be a studio because there's multiple light sources in different directions. They're wearing white suits, which are quite reflective.
Yep.
Boom. The foil on the lander is gold, which is incredibly reflective. And as previously, bullshit in werewolves, the moon, we've already established, is very reflective.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very reflective. So I'm going to call bullshit on that one with that.
So the last 3 conspiracy theories we're calling bullshit.
Yeah, it's like Mythbusters for conspiracy theories. You may have a different opinion, and that's great.
That's fine. But
that's great, and we welcome that. If you're going to contact us, just be respectful. That's all we ask.
Yeah, just debate, not...
No, don't trash us. There's no need for that.
Is there any financial gain from faking the moon landing?
No, it's a very expensive thing. So it came about that there was massive rallies in America near the end of the Apollo missions. NASA's budget got slashed at that point because the war in Vietnam in '76 was kicking off. So there was was it Vietnam? Probably some war.
There's lots of
America just finds a country and for no reason whatsoever goes, I'm going down there and we're just going to do this. So the imperialistic American will is being imposed somewhere on the planet and it was costing a lot of money. So, yeah, and the uprising of the civil rights movement as well in America. So there was a lot of people, like the civil rights movement were championing the cause by asking for funding in really deprivated areas of America.
Yeah,
you know, where the labour force in car factories had been cut and things like that. You know, so there was a lot of people sort of needing money. So anybody who says, so why didn't they ever go back? Because
it's expensive.
1, they prove the point.
Well, we've done it.
2, it's really expensive. Yeah, not everybody goes to Skeggy every year for their holiday.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you go somewhere else or figure out a cheaper place to go. So, yeah, there was a lot of political unrest in America at that time with all sorts of things, unemployment, civil liberties of black people, all that kind of stuff. So if you do your history and then work out at the point where they stop going to the moon and then go, actually, that makes sense. Because why would you throw money at, generally speaking, a load of white geezers to put white geezers on the moon when there are people starving?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But a lot of these conspiracy theories, when it comes to sort of government covering something up, the argument's always financial gain in some way.
What financial gain is there?
That's why I asked the question, because
we're going to mine the moon.
We're going to mine the moon.
Do you know how much it costs to bring those little bits of rock back? Do you know what I mean? We're talking billions of dollars to get up there to bring back 300 pounds of rock over, 4 missions or whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, it's madness.
But it leads me on to another conspiracy theory that people bring up: financial gain, 9/11 being an inside job. What do we think on that?
See, for a while I kind of believed it, right? I watched the Michael Moore film. You remember Michael Moore made the film?
Yeah.
Fahrenheit 9/11. If
That's the one.
anybody's,
Yeah.
if you haven't watched it, watch it.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. So I went to the cinema to see that in where was I? Barcelona, and it's really weird because it was in English with Spanish subtitles. And I don't read Spanish, so but your
Really?
eyes are drawn to trying to read it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're like, hang on a minute, I don't need to. Everybody else in this cinema needs to, I don't.
Weird.
Yeah, it was a bit. So that was a surreal moment. But from that point onwards, because my friend Roland, who is an English professor in Barcelona University, he really goes with conspiracies a lot. So he's not a flat earther, but he's very much governments are doing stuff
Yeah.
to make financial gain.
So the 9/11 one would be a big one.
That was his favourite one.
Yeah.
Which is why we went to see Fahrenheit 9/11. And there was the point that Michael Moore made that the building collapsed. And I remember, because I worked at Peugeot at the time, and I was on the late shift. So I'd got up in the morning, put the news on, sitting there with a cup of coffee, and I watched the whole thing live. And it was weird because it did look like
Controlled demolition, the way it
absolutely
just dropped.
Absolutely. And everyone's like, yeah, but then Building 6, that went down as well, and that never had anything on it. Well,
Building 7, yeah.
Yeah, and all these others. Well, think about it. The structure around would be unsafe for all these other buildings.
Yeah.
Because these two huge monolithic towers just plummeted to the ground.
Yeah.
Do I think it's an inside job? What would be the benefit? Why
Wasn't the benefit? They blamed it on Osama bin Laden, didn't they? He was like the mastermind behind it all.
Yeah.
Which then led to Afghanistan war.
Okay, so why would you go to war with Afghanistan?
Well, a lot of people say oil, don't they? They always bring oil into things like that.
Yeah, but they're more known for their heroin trade.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you said to me, oh, the American government went to war with Afghanistan so they can control the poppy fields and the opium outlets of the world, I'd believe that.
Yeah, so there's probably
That
people
makes more sense
say
because
that as well.
Because oil, we're all moving towards electric cars.
Yeah, so they say. America
Yeah,
like machines.
Yeah, well, although petrol is a byproduct of the plastics industry, so stop using plastic as well if that's what you really want to do.
Yeah, well, it's kind of been the movement for a while, isn't it? Plastic. They got rid of plastic straws but kept the plastic lids.
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it?
Instead of having plastic straws wrapped in paper, we now have paper straws wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
What's the point?
And mostly cheap clothes are made from nylon and synthetic materials. Baby wipes are made from plastic. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. A lot of people still believe it's an inside job.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of plastic, just because sometimes I like to be a bit random.
Yeah.
So fossil fuels, made from dinosaurs, yeah? Yeah?
If you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
a conspiracy theory starts. Yeah.
So fossil fuels are made from prehistoric remains of organic matter.
Yeah.
For instance,
Yep.
dinosaurs. I'm just going to say that, right?
Okay.
So then we mine it or drill it out, yeah? And then we divide it into its component parts, one of them being polymers, plastics.
Yep.
So then plastics are used to make straws, tubs, kids' toys, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing with my grandson with these plastic dinosaurs, I'm playing with real dinosaurs. So I'm just putting that out there.
It's not even really a conspiracy theory, is it? It's just true.
It's true. Dinosaurs are real. Plastic dinosaurs are real
conspiracy.
dinosaurs.
Made
There
a
you go.
theory and proved it true.
Absolutely.
Within a minute.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
There you go. Boom. So, yes, all governments are greedy bastards.
Yeah, of course.
But is it the government that's a greedy bastard or the people that are running the governments that are greedy bastards? Because 98% of the wealth on this planet is owned by 2% of the population. And people always know who they are. They go, oh, yeah, the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs,
I was reading about them earlier.
Yeah. So the Rothschilds have been involved in financing wars since Napoleonic times.
Yeah.
And not only financing wars, they finance both sides at the same time because, you're going to sell things to both sides.
Yeah, and no one knows the exact value of that family either.
No, and if you look at old Rothschild and then look at Mr. Burns in The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Very, very similar.
Come here, Smithers.
Very similar.
So there are things where it's like, is that a conspiracy or is that just the way the world works? And part of me goes, do you know what? This is much deeper than my little mind can comprehend.
Yeah, that's why it's fun to talk about, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're never going to know the answers.
No, not unless, I join Freemasons and go through the Illuminati rituals.
Do you have that much money?
Do I need money? I thought I just had to kill people for people. I thought if you just
Not sure
offered,
that's how it works.
No, I just thought if you offered to do like cover up bad things for rich people, they give you the apron, which looks like the. Have you ever seen like the on your apps?
Yeah.
So the app looks like the grand architect's compass.
Yeah.
And then Google email or Google Gmail, right, looks like an apron. It looks like a Masonic apron. Or does it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, or does it? And there's the all-seeing eye on a pyramid on the American banknote.
Which is Illuminati.
Absolutely.
Which is another thing that I have written down, which can connect to the Rothschilds or anything, because everyone thinks that the Illuminati are just a lot of rich people that rule the world, New World Order.
So there is a theory that says that the Illuminati actually goes back to the Knights Templars. I don't know whether you know that one.
Yeah, so the Illuminati were real people. I can't remember his name. I know his first name is Adam.
Adam,
the guy that founded the Illuminati. Yeah,
good name, good strong name.
But they were just a society that wanted to rule a few things. They went underground for a long time. Well, they just never came back, apparently. But now, apparently, they're already running things. They blamed the French Revolution on the Illuminati.
Really?
Yeah, there's a whole conspiracy theory behind that.
Not that.
There was actually, they never disappeared. They just went underground and started running things secretly.
So they're not blaming it on that bloke that declared all monarchy to be abolished and then called himself emperor?
See, the Illuminati apparently first founded to take on monarchies.
Ah, there you go.
So that's the
Well, they're all lizard people anyway.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter,
they're
does
all
it?
lizards.
They eat babies. So the Queen often munches down on the embryos of young children or even full-grown babies, along with other members of other royal orders throughout the world, and occasionally the odd pope is thrown in. No, they don't eat the odd pope. He just joins in with the rituals, obviously. Is that right?
I had no idea. I think we just added more to the conspiracy theory there.
Absolutely. Here's things not to Google, right? Bohemian Grove. Don't Google that. And the rituals that go on there. Don't Google, because if you get all this on your browser history, do you know what? That vaccine, that microchip in your vaccine is going to know. And it's going to inform them, and they're going to come for you. There was a great film, right, back in the, I think it was late 80s, early 90s, Mel Gibson. The film's called Conspiracy Theory, I think, something like that. I don't know, check it. And he's like this really sort of paranoid geezer that lives in a tinfoil house. He's got foil on the walls and all that sort of stuff. And he's got a million conspiracy theories that he talks about, and everyone just thinks he's a nutter. Then all of a sudden, one day, the FBI come after him because something he knows is true. It's just he can't remember what it is. Brilliant film. Go watch it.
I'll have a look. That sounds similar to, is it Person of Interest or something? The Will Smith film?
The Will Smith one.
Yeah.
Because he knows something that he didn't know that he knew,
and
right?
there's cameras all watching him, and every camera can face...
So
don't want the vaccine, it tracks me.
Absolutely. It's human nature to be paranoid. It's human nature to think that you've got no control over your life. It's human nature to believe that that's it. You have to do what you do today, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm stuck, I've got this and I've got that and I can't ever achieve, maybe I'll win the lottery. Well, chances of winning the lottery, very slim.
Very slim.
Chances of changing tomorrow, down to you. Yeah? So, it's one of them. So tell me more about these people with their triangles. Lady Gaga,
the Illuminati, there's
the all-seeing
the
eye.
old theory that the celebrities are in on it.
All celebrities.
No, I don't think it's all celebrities.
No,
I think
because
it's some of them.
John Travolta's definitely not, and Tom Cruise isn't, because they're members of a different organisation.
Yeah, they're Scientologists.
Scientologists.
So Beyonce is one that's apparently in the Illuminati with Jay-Z. The theory that proves this is they make triangle shapes with their hands.
All right. Not just because there's a craze of do you remember when dabbing was a thing people did?
Yeah.
What could that prove? Do you know what I mean? It's just
no idea.
Oh, it's just stuff, isn't it? It's just like
It's just
somebody does
stuff
it. Everyone goes, "That looks cool."
Did that
and
happen? What was it? Vine? That was.
Yeah.
It was like TikTok.
Yeah.
I think people dabbed on that.
Yeah.
That's where that came from.
Yeah. It's like
Just the
gestures.
Fortnite dances.
So people have been throwing gang shaped signs and gestures for years in videos.
The Crips.
So now what we're saying is just because it's a triangle, it's got to prove that you're linked to this.
Yeah, like,
and that's you showing off your wealth and your position within that organisation.
Yeah, like it took less than a day for people to say that Robin Williams was killed by the Illuminati because they found a picture of him making a triangle shape over his eye.
So Lady Gaga's on borrowed time.
Maybe.
And Jay-Z and
Beyonce
and
Rihanna, and Kanye West.
Kanye West, Taylor Swift.
Maybe I don't
hopefully
know
Taylor Swift.
how many of them are supposedly in the Illuminati. I know Michael Jackson was one as well. The Illuminati killed him, apparently.
No, a doctor gave him too much fucking sleeping drugs, and that was it. Too
was
much painkillers. You know what I mean?
There's all these.
The guy was an
theories.
addict.
The doctor was paid by the Illuminati. That's what they'll say.
Well, we can put the Illuminati on the back burner because we can't prove it one way or another.
No one can prove it. Like
It's
Bob and Star stuff,
Bigfoot,
we can't
innit?
prove.
It's Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's another one. They're just gonna.
So there's a TV
any
show.
evidence that proves the conspiracy. Not.
There's a TV show on TV, and it's called Finding Bigfoot. And these people go out into the woods and they talk to people in local areas. And there's all these sketchy photographs, grainy photographs, by the way, prove everything.
Always grainy.
Grainy photographs, right? And then they go, or grainy video, and they go and recreate it because they've got this bloke that works for them who's like really tall and fat. And I'm hooked on this program, right? They hit trees and then wait with a parabolic speaker to see if the noise of a squatch, as they call it, hits the tree back.
Sasquatch.
Yeah. So the Squatch Watch, that's what they call it, right? And then they investigate it, and they've got thermal imaging cameras, and then they make Squatch calls. They're like, and then they wait to see if it comes back. This program is amazing.
Oh,
but you know what? Proves nothing.
No.
Because at no point have they got empirical evidence of anything.
No. And that's been going on for years, and no one has ever got any
Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, no evidence, but it exists because I said so.
Because I said so. There's got to be something there because I'm paranoid enough to believe it.
Can we go and hire the guy from UK Garrison? You know, the guys that all dress up like stormtroopers.
Yeah.
There's a Wookiee. One of them does Chewbacca.
Does he?
Can we get him to go in a forest and just walk around for a bit?
Yeah, and
see
then
how long it takes.
See how long it takes before the phone goes ringing off the hook.
Yeah. He's got the stilts and everything, so he's like 8 foot tall.
If you're out there and you're listening and it's you, just do that for fun.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. And if anybody sees him, don't be scared. So, Illuminati is just one of them that we go, okay. So it's up there with lizard people, because obviously there's glitches where you see these people change. You've seen them videos?
Yeah.
Oh, the eyes. Did you see the eyes change? What you think that just because it's on a camera,
different
it's real?
facial expressions and bad cameras.
Yeah.
Grainy again.
Grainy cameras. Grainy cameras.
There was that one of them, Obama, when he was the president, his bodyguard.
Yes, that's the one, the bald-headed geezer.
He turns his head slightly.
And his ears disappear.
He's just filmed on a bad camera with bad lighting.
Absolutely.
From far away, and they've zoomed in.
It's
like, well, it's going to be grainy. So
I've got
you're
a
not
picture
going
of Zach Wilde like that.
Yeah. There you go, he's another one. Reptilians, that's what they call it, the reptilian theory.
It. So this is very Doctor Who, Silurians, underground, reptilians. Yeah. It's one of them. Were there possibly humanoids on this planet that were not us? Well, of course there was. There was Neanderthals.
Yeah.
There could have been other subspecies of humans. And over time, when these humanoids or hominoids get in vicinity with each other, they're all fighting for the same things, the same resources. So the stronger out of all of them comes through, right? That's called evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Maybe back in the day, maybe before humans, there was reptilians. If they're still around, they're probably underground.
See, the flat earthers, talking of evolution, they also don't believe in evolution, really. A lot of them, because it's a theory. Is it a conspiracy? No, it's not. But it's just a scientific theory.
Yeah.
It can possibly be disproven one day. Probably not, because there's too much evidence to have proved it over the years. Like, there's kids being born now without appendix because we don't need it. And evolution sees that, so some people aren't getting it anymore.
There you go. So all those people that use their thumbs to text,
Yeah.
if we carry on using our thumbs to text, that will be the dominant feature on our hands.
In theory, that's...
And in theory, over evolution, we would have longer opposable thumb than what we have now and short fingers.
Yeah. That's the way evolution says it would go, yeah. It picks out the best parts and the worst parts, gets rid of the worst, and amplifies the best.
So just everyone take your socks and shoes off and look at your feet, right? So you've got toes. Yeah. It's the equivalent of a hand on the bottom of your leg. And evolution has changed it so it doesn't look like a hand anymore because you don't need it to.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that out there.
Because the chimps ones, they all look the same.
Yeah, but now you're saying that.
No,
we come
evolution.
from apes.
Apes, chimps, whatever.
99.9% of our DNA is chimp-based. Well, 78% is a banana. You know what? It's one of them. I personally am not a big believer that we came from directly from apes. Do we come from a species of ape that no longer exists? Absolutely, possibly. Or it's possible and absolutely. Either way. But then we're so arrogant that we want to believe that we didn't. We just happened, or aliens altered the DNA. You know, and
this is where the Scientology stuff comes in.
And that's what Prometheus is all about.
Prometheus is very similar to the Scientology thing.
Yeah.
They believe that we was dropped off here by an alien race. I can't remember the name of the alien race now. They dropped us in a volcano or something, and the volcano erupted, and then humans came.
There's a book by a professor. I can't remember his name. If I remember it, what I'll do is I'll put a comment on the section. He wrote a book about why human beings don't come from this planet. Because we don't fit in with the circadian rhythm of a 24-hour day. It doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we have to alter the structure of our food to be able to eat it.
Yeah, we're the only ones to do that.
That we don't protect our environment as if we're here for a long term. That we actually just go sprawl out all over the place and totally change the landscape.
Yeah.
Where most animals on this planet, if they change the landscape, they changed it to adapt for them without causing too much issue for other life forms.
Yeah.
So I can't remember his name now, but he's a professor, and he studied it, and he basically just says all this stuff, and you can go into it in more detail, and it's really interesting read if that's what you want to do.
It's a good theory that we're not from here.
It makes sense.
We are the aliens.
We are the virus, mate.
Well, yeah, we are, yeah.
No, we need vaccinating. That's what needs to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe that's what the chip's for.
What? Population reduction?
Yeah, to get rid of us. Or, as George Carlin, the old comedian, once said, that we was only here to make plastic because the Earth needed it. Now it's got plastic, it's getting rid of us.
Dinosaurs are taking over. We don't script this shit, by the way.
No, this just
goes round, and it all comes back to things that we've already said.
See, there's a lot of other conspiracy theories that I don't think we'll go massively in detail on. But
let's go through them. Let's just do a quick list.
Paul McCartney's dead.
Yeah. Paul McCartney's dead. At the height of the Beatles, the proof is that on the album, is it Abbey Road?
When they're walking across, yeah,
he's got bare feet, which is a symbol of passing through to the other side.
He's barefoot, and he's the only one walking with the other leg.
Yeah. And also, on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart, there's a reef at the bottom that says Paul. Yeah. Some people go, no, it's a little red guitar. And some people go, no, it says Paul. So the theory is he was in a car crash. I think he was going out with Jane Asher at the time. She makes cakes. She was an actress, but then she made cakes. And there was a technician who also was left-handed, who bears a striking resemblance to Paul McCartney, used to hang around with the band. His name was Billy Shepherd? I might be wrong.
I don't know.
I might be wrong. Check it out. So he stepped in. McCartney died. He stepped in. So he learned to play like McCartney. He learned to sound like McCartney. And then if you look at pictures of McCartney before the car crash and after the car crash, he looks different. Because you wouldn't if you'd been in a car crash, right?
Yeah, well. Luke Skywalker had to change his face in Empire Strikes Back. Like he had the car crash.
No,
and they
Mark
had to
Hamill,
do the whole
Mark
Hoth
Hamill
thing.
died.
Oh, he died.
No, he died.
He was
No, he
replaced.
actually died, and he was replaced by Yoda.
All right.
Replace me, they did.
Another fun fact about the Abbey Road is the original cover. It's still the same cover, but they've altered it. Paul McCartney's holding a cigarette in his hand. He's not anymore.
Because cigarettes
They've
are
took
bad.
it out. Yeah, they've took it out.
That's changing history, right?
Yeah, well,
Is that good?
yeah, the original
Is that
ones.
good? We'll talk about that. I think we should do a whole thing on like rewriting history and wiping shit out.
Yeah, well, we can always revisit episodes.
That's an interesting thing.
The opposite now is Elvis and Tupac are alive.
Well, Elvis has always been alive because, like, he got to be bloated, overweight, didn't like himself, so he faked his own death, and his name's spelt wrong on his tomb because that actually proves that you wouldn't want to be in a tomb with your name spelt wrong, would you?
Nah.
So up until he died, apparently he never spelt his name Aaron with double A.
Right.
And then, like, well, maybe he didn't, but he's dead now. Maybe they just couldn't spell. Maybe the geezer doing the monumental masonry was a bit dyslexic like myself and put a double A in.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I've never really delved into the Elvis stuff.
Here's the thing about Elvis. Most people don't realise, right? Elvis was a twin. So his twin, who was called Aaron, yeah, died at birth. Now I could be an absolute arsehole and start my own conspiracy theory right now at this point.
Yeah, we've already done a couple, might as well.
So let's start one, right?
Okay.
The twin didn't die at birth. Elvis was two people throughout his life.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then one of them died.
Oh, what's that film that's reminding me of now?
The Prestige.
Is that the Hugh Jackman and...
Hugh Jackman, and Christian Bale.
Christian Bale's the
and
twins.
The worst ever Scarlett Johansson performance in a film ever.
Yeah.
But, you know, she could have ruined the film, but those two carried it off. So you've got Batman, Wolverine, and Alfred all in one film.
Yep. With the twins, yeah, that was reminding me of that.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Great film.
Concept. And that also, do you know what? There's a scientific application in that based on Tesla, who's played by David Bowie.
Yeah.
Tesla made a machine that actually copies people. Oh no, I've given too much away.
Oh,
go watch it. It's brilliant.
That's why Elon Musk looks like a robot.
Yeah, no. Elon Musk is a robot.
He just is, yeah.
He is Stephen Hawking's love child.
It's the same as, what's his name from Amazon? I don't know his name. The guy that owns Amazon. He looks like an alien or robot or something as well.
Did you know Mark Zuckerberg is related to Bill Gates?
He's an alien too. He looks like
but and so does Bill Gates.
Why do they all look like robots?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
They're all coming out. Another one we've kind of delved into with the vaccine is Big Pharma. That they're
so they're hiding shit.
Yeah, they're hiding things. They've got cures for things already, which would explain why the vaccine came out so quick if you're going to delve into that way.
Or the vaccine came out so quick because there's always been research into flu vaccines and their mutations going back 20 years.
Or the fact that Bill Gates clamped down even harder on vaccinations for a virus since Ebola, and he did a TED talk about it.
Yeah, but that was when was that? Back in 2015?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when he did it then, and then it sort of... I forgot about it, and it appeared again.
I remember he said the biggest threat to humanity in the future is a virus.
Yeah, it won't be a war.
It won't be a war, it won't be famine, it'll be a virus.
Yeah.
So yeah,
from that point
onwards, he has directed his work that way. So either he's an evil mastermind or an evil genius. Or just Bill Gates.
Just being a nice guy.
Just Bill Gates. You know, I remember years ago when like Microsoft came out, and then it was like Bill Gates he's the wealthiest man on the planet. He makes $1 million a second.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't take you wouldn't take an hour for lunch if you made $1 million a second, would you?
No,
It'd be like, are we going on lunch? No, I've got too much money to make. Do you know what I mean? That's how I'd do it.
Everything's free if you like that.
Is it?
You buy something and then a minute later... Oh.
Absolutely. I've just spent £12 on a coffee. Boom. £1 million later.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That works for me. What else we got?
That's all I've got written down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't got many more than that. I think we pretty much covered it all. And you can go on to like subsections and spiralise into all sorts of things like ancient technologies are being hidden from us, you know. Subspecies of humans that are giants that came before us that are called, what are they called? They're linked in with the Illuminati and all sorts of things. If you Google, right, here's my problem with the my problem with the internet, and like everybody now has the whole sum of human knowledge at their fingertips and spends most of their time watching videos of cats playing fucking pianos.
Yep.
Or TikTok videos of people with filters going.
Yeah.
Knowledge is out there. So in my day, it wasn't called the internet. It was called the Britannia Collection of Encyclopedias. So you just have to go and collect it and just look at it. And it used to be a volume come round every couple of months or whatever. So most people used to have encyclopedias, and now we got the internet, which is much more fun because you can find out shit like Elvis isn't dead. There's a plane on the moon. Hitler went to Antarctica, and that's why Antarctica's off limits to everybody. You can just anything.
Anything. You can just say anything about anything, and someone might believe you, and then suddenly the world believes it.
And then the truth is out there.
And the common phrase, wake up.
Yeah.
They all say that.
Woke.
Well, no, let's not talk about woke. That's a different thing.
That's the whole program in itself.
The conspiracy theorists, if you don't believe what they say, you need to wake up.
Absolutely.
Nah. It's not my job to prove your theory. It's your job. So go and do your research. Prove your own theory
and
come with the evidence.
And just don't be afraid. Life's for living. Just enjoy life. Stop getting bogged down in so much rubbish. So, yeah, and just remember, there's lots of stuff out there. Do your research. Don't go too like over the top with it. Just enjoy it. There's some really, really interesting stuff, and there's some that's just silly. It's like watching a good TV program, like Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah, the silly stuff, like they are just funny, but there are people that believe it, which probably makes it more funny for us. But if you're going to like look into a conspiracy theory, if you want to believe it, evidence.
That's your choice.
Always
yeah.
Evidence.
Evidence first.
Or just have fun with it.
Yeah, this is why I watch programs like that, because I'm just having fun.
They're funny.
Absolutely.
I watched the Bob Lazar documentary for probably the 5th time last night, and it's just fun. I believe some of it. I believe he's telling the truth.
I believe
in the whole flying saucers?
No,
aliens?
I believe in Velcro.
You believe in Velcro? Velcro proved Roswell?
Absolutely. Before Roswell, no Velcro. After Roswell, Velcro.
I believe in bread.
1927 and 1926, I think it is. So 1927, sliced bread. That's when it came out. So what was the best thing before sliced bread? Non-sliced bread. You just slice it yourself. So do you think people should contact us? What do you reckon?
Yeah. Like debate with us about things we've talked about, or give us a subject to talk about.
Yeah, and so inbox us, comment, whatever.
If you want to be a guest.
Yeah, you got an idea and you want to be a guest, that'd be cool.
Yeah, if you're a musician, if you're a conspiracy theorist, if you're a scientist.
Ooh.
Maybe we should do a paranormal episode. We can get some ghost adventures in and stuff like that.
Spooky. I bet. See, this building, right?
There's been noises throughout this podcast.
Absolutely.
That haven't been picked up on the mic, I can see.
No.
But they're just annoying. Just like weird noises.
I got a theory about the paranormal, but I'll save it for when we're doing that one.
Well, we'll do an episode on that.
Okay.
But we shall call episode 2 here. Until next time.
Thank you very much for listening.